When the sun goes to sleep and the moon says hi, when the day is done and the night is nigh, the stars like to listen to a special friend. It's bedtime stories with Uncle Glenn.
Hi everybody! Welcome to Bedtime Stories with Uncle Glenn. I'm Uncle Glenn. Are you ready for your bedtime story? I know I am. I've got my pajamas on. I've got my house coat on. I've got my fuzzy slippers on. And I've got my favorite stuffed animal. You remember Mr. Monster?
Hi everybody!
And I've got the most important thing, my story time book. But before we start our story, you know how we get in the right mood for a bedtime story. We think our happy thinking thought. So what should our happy thinking thought be for today? I know! Let's think of our favorite cartoon character. Close your eyes, put a big smile on your face, and think of your favorite cartoon character. My favorite cartoon character always makes me laugh and puts me in a good mood. So let's check what our story is going to be today. We have a special story today. Our story is called Letters for Lily Lion. Lily Lion sat at the back of the classroom, not because she was a bad student, but just because she preferred it there. Sitting at the back of the class, she found she was often able to finish her work ahead of everyone else and had time to do her favorite thing. Lily's favorite thing of all was to write letters to people. Lily wrote letters to everyone. She wrote to family and friends, actors, singers, dancers, even complete strangers. She told them about her love for dancing, karate, playing games, and all sorts of things. She didn't receive many letters back, but she still loved writing them, and all the letter writing she did helped her become really good at writing. "Wow, you can write so well," Sunshine said to her one day as he was reading some of her work. "How did you learn to write so well?" "Just practice, I guess," Lily responded. "I write lots of letters because I enjoy writing them." Lily looked down. Not that many people write back. Sunshine shrugged. "Maybe they don't like writing as much as you do. Besides, I think what you do is really nice. It makes people feel special." "You're right," Lily said with a smile. "And I will keep writing because it makes me feel good too." "That's the spirit," said Sunshine, and they all packed their bags to go home. The next morning, Lily didn't come to school. Mrs. Indy, their teacher, made an announcement as soon as the class came in and settled down. "I'm afraid I have some bad news," Mrs. Indy started. "As you've probably noticed, Lily is not at school today. Last night she had an accident and broke her arm and her leg." The class gasped. "Will she be okay?" asked Whitey Wolf. "Yes, she'll be fine. She's a very lucky girl. Her arm and legs are in casts and she will be in the hospital for a few days. After that, she will have to stay home for a while longer. I'm going to visit her in the hospital after school." "What happened? She must be really sore," said Darlene dear. "Yes, she is really sore, and what happened isn't really important. What matters is that she's okay, and we hope she gets better quickly," Mrs. Indy replied. "I hope she gets better really soon," said Cookie Caterpillar, and the whole class agreed. At recess that morning, Sunshine was talking to his friends about Lily. "That must be really hard for her, having both her arm and her leg in a cast. She can't dance or do karate." "She can't even write letters," Darlene added. "I feel so bad for her. I wish there was something we could do." "I have an idea," Cookie said. "Why don't we write letters to Lily? She can't write back, but I bet she'd like reading them." "That's a great idea," they all said together. "Let's ask Mrs. Indy if we can do it." When recess was over, the friends gathered around Mrs. Indy's desk and asked her about writing letters to Lily. Mrs. Indy thought it was a wonderful idea and announced the idea to the rest of the class. The class was excited about doing something nice for Lily. Lily had often written each of them nice letters. The class spent the rest of the day working on their letters to Lily. Some of the class wrote about how much they missed her. Some of the class wrote about what was happening in their class or at Woodsville school. Others wrote about dancing or karate. No matter what they wrote about, they made sure that their letters would be fun for Lily to read. Mrs. Indy also gave them special paper to use for the letters and let them draw pictures too. This made the class even more excited. When they were all done, they cheered, for they were sure they had done the best work they could for Lily. Bully Bear asked Mrs. Indy if they could go with her to the hospital. "It's just down the street. We could all walk there together." Mrs. Indy replied, "I don't think the hospital would like all of us going. It's a nice idea, Bully, but the hospitals are where people go to get better. Too many people can make it hard to get better because the patients need lots of rest." The class was disappointed, but they knew Mrs. Indy was right. Mrs. Indy promised she would bring letters to Lily personally, and that made them feel better. Less than a week later, the class had a special surprise. There was a knock at the classroom door, and in came Lily and her mother. Lily had a cast on her arm and was using a crutch to help her walk because of her broken leg. The class all started to talk at once. "Wow!" exclaimed Sunshine. "I can't believe you're back already." The doctor said they were surprised how quickly Lily was able to get up and move around, Lily's mother said. "That's great, Lily. We've missed you," Mrs. Indy exclaimed. "Are you sure you're ready to come back to class?" "Yes," said Lily. "I'm still sore, but I miss all my friends." Mrs. Indy smiled, and Lily said goodbye to her mother. The class helped Lily to her seat, and she smiled at all her friends. "So, Lily, can you tell us about your time in the hospital?" Mrs. Indy asked. "I'm sure the class had lots of questions." "Do we ever?" said Meanie Monkey. "Well, the doctor said I should stay in the hospital for 3 days and then stay home for a week or 2, Lily said. "But you've been away less than that," exclaimed Cookie. "What made you feel better so fast?" Lily smiled. "It was all of you. When I received all those wonderful letters with such great drawings and talking about all the things I love to do, I felt a lot better. I read them over and over again. Then I realized I had to push myself to get better quickly so I could come back to school and be with all of my friends." The class cheered. Their letters to Lily had helped her get better quicker. "There's only one bad thing about those letters," Lily said softly. The class fell silent. Everyone stared at Meanie Monkey. "Don't look at me. I wrote a nice letter," Meanie said. Lily laughed. "It wasn't Meanie. He wrote a really nice letter," she said. "It's just not being able to write letters. I had to develop a new hobby, but I need everyone's help to do it." "What's that?" Sunshine asked. "I love to read letters now," Lily exclaimed, and all the class laughed. Mrs. Indy laughed too, and suggested the class start a letter writing program. Once a week, they would have time to write letters to each other. "After all, practicing writing helps you get better at it," Sunshine said. "Right, Lily?" "Right," said Lily. "Now, who's going to be the first to help me write my letters?" she asked, pointing at the cast on her arm. The class laughed, and everyone volunteered to help Lily write. And from that day on, Lily Lion was very proud to have been the cause of her class's letter writing program at Woodsville School, and everyone in the class enjoyed both reading and writing letters. The end. That was a great story. I hope you really enjoyed it. I enjoyed it too. It was great that people like to read and to write, and especially when you're writing to other people, because it makes them feel special. Has anyone ever written to you, or have you ever written to anyone else? Made you feel special, didn't it? Well, I hope you enjoyed the story. Uncle Glenn enjoyed reading it to you. Now our story is all done. Hope that you had lots of fun. Thanks for visiting Uncle Glenn. I hope that you will come again. Now it's time to go to sleep. Close your eyes, don't make a peep. Good night.